need that market tomorrow, we'll need our school tomorrow, we'll
Yes.
need the road tomorrow. So
even that
Police
neighbor in your district,
the neighbor
you
in
need
your
him.
village, you'll need them, the gardens. So Uganda Police Force and is a lead agency in security.
Before bringing in police, what is your role as the Electoral Commission, where I will bring the word I borrowed, where it gets to boil in an exercise of a by-election or an election? What is your role as the referee in the middle?
Our role is to ensure that there is compliance with
How do you do that?
Because naturally politics generates heat. And we don't want to tell politicians that don't get excited about being elected or campaigning for your candidate. All we do is to tell them, as you campaign for your candidate, follow the following. Don't use this language, don't provoke anger, wars, incite violence, because when you do, you create, it's an offense, electoral offense. And by the way, if you make that your approach, you are risking a lot. You are risking your candidate being challenged, even if you win. They will say, so-and-so, Bukenya Paul organized a violent campaign and won the election, and we are challenging it in courts of law. It was not free and fair. There was a lot of malpractice. So it is to the advantage of the candidate to have a peaceful campaign. So that's the engagement. Our role is to engage. Our role is to guide. Our role is to caution. Our role is to do voter education and tell them this is how you should do what you do. But then the politics of it, where someone says I'm the best and they shout on top of their voice, I think remains there. As we can't cross that. But when we see a boiling situation and we know that the reason it is boiling is because they've gone beyond campaign time, they've gone beyond this, and then we call them to order. And of course, you don't want to go to the very extreme. You call them to order, make sure that they come back online, and we have a successful campaign.
We have seen pictures of heavy deployment in Kayunga. What is your comment about it, and what do you know about the deployment in Kayunga that is very heavy?
Yeah, first of all, security is required during elections. And as a matter of fact, the electoral guidelines say that we must ensure that elections are organized and conducted in a peaceful environment.
Yes.
So where there is no peaceful environment, you can't organize elections. That's why some countries have not been able to have elections, because they're either in a state of war or there are conflicts that do not allow that. So I think police has a role to play. Uganda Police has a role to play in elections, in ensuring a peaceful environment. Now, I may not be competent enough to talk about how they read the situations and their deployment, because security deployment responds to the level of security needs and risks, and whichever language they use. I'm not competent in the security sector. But in our engagement, of course, security could say we have information, we have read the situation, and want to contain a potential explosive situation like this, either by deploying at this level or the other level. And then we're briefed on that. But otherwise, we don't have a police as electoral commission. What we do is to work with the security agencies that are established by law, and also they follow a code of conduct, because the security being in elections doesn't mean that you will not have the freedom to vote. You come to the polling station. A polling station is secured by a constable. A constable. So a constable is then unarmed, because we don't allow arms and guns at polling stations. But if there's a trading center where they see a situation where they need to deploy and secure a road, secure a highway, because in the case of Mukono, which is a highway, and in the case of the Kayunga Road, which is also a highway through, that section through Gayaza all the way to, is it Mbiko, and then joins to Jinja. If security says we want to secure and make sure the bridge, all that is secured, then they are within their right to do that. We would be concerned if security comes and tells you don't get out of your house to go and vote. So for persons in Kayunga who are enjoying and going for their final campaigns, and they're enjoying that, and they're secured, the roads are secured, and all that, it's still within the mandate of police to do that.
Okay. How much civic education do you carry on as we go for by-elections? Do you really do it in an intense kind of manner as it's done when we're going for general elections?
Yeah, the same, because and the voter education has been largely around the same, because it's the same by the same regulations that are in place, the same guidelines. It's secret ballot, so we want to make sure that when you go to vote for a by-election, you avoid mistakes that occur in the voting procedures that can compromise the process, or even frustrate. When you get out of your house to go and vote, you want your vote to be counted. So we want you to mark it correctly. We want you to follow the candidate so that you vote the candidate of your choice. We want you to conduct yourself peacefully. Now we have COVID-19. Wear a mask and keep distances. Don't gather in large crowds. So because some of the by-elections they're organizing are a result of death of candidates due to COVID-19.
Yes.
So the message is already clear to us all that we still have a danger in our presence. If we take precautions, we can participate peacefully. If we do not take precautions, wearing a mask, avoiding large crowds, we expose ourselves. So that's the message we have been sending. It's more of the same message, because the same standard operating procedures have applied also to by-elections.
I've seen political party leaders conducting rallies in Kayunga with nobody having a mask and big crowds. Much as your adverts as Electoral Commission say, emphasize, please, put on a mask, make sure only 200 people. I've not seen that
now
being followed. What is going to happen? Are we going to lose lives in Kayunga?
I think
over COVID-19.
Yeah, you're right. There is still a national campaign in force, and we just plugged into that. There's still a national call from the Ministry of Health, and even a presidential directive that how to conduct ourselves safely and prevent the spread of COVID-19. Those are still in place. And I hope that candidates who are out there and their official agents and even their supporters follow those directives. They are good. And those measures, they are good for us. I came in here with my mask. We went through procedures here as we came in here into the studio.
Yes.
And I think it's because you want to protect everyone involved in our work.
Those guidelines
where
exist.
Candidates do not follow that, then that's very, very unfortunate.
We have not seen enforcement.
As the responsibility to enforce is up to is the right and the work of the Uganda Police Force, of course, because curfew is still in place. Moving in big and large numbers is still in force. The allowed numbers are known, and we put them clear in our guidelines. I think we need to work together in this. It's not just the Electoral Commission. It is all of us, because COVID affected all of us. And the measures are because of COVID-19, not because of any other reason to advantage one candidate or disadvantage another candidate. So I think you don't need to, much as it's exciting, don't allow to get carried away. Because like I've mentioned, one of the reasons we're organizing by-elections because some candidates passed on because of COVID-19. And then COVID-19 is still here.
So the rest of us shouldn't die and again cause vacancies amongst voters.
We should be responsible, and I think I call upon leaders to be responsible. You can still get that support even when you don't expose people to all of that.
Okay. Just again, as we wind up, break down the kind of program again for our viewers to know when they're going to vote, how and where. In those areas where they're going to have the elections.
Now, Jedana may not be able to break down all the 114 districts.
Definitely. I'm just talking about the program. What do we have today? What do we have tomorrow, 16th, like that? Yeah.
But where you are, wherever you are, I think you know very well that your council has a vacancy.
Yes.
And for those councils where the communication was made and it came through the procedures and organized and budgeted for that, we have organized for you to have elections. So go out and vote for your leaders, leaders of your choice. You have that freedom and that right to do so. We will have campaigns closing today, 14th.
In all the areas where we have
all areas where we have by-elections.
Okay.
The campaigns officially close today at 6 p.m. in the evening. After that, no more campaigns, not even radio adverts, not even radio talk shows to promote a candidature.
Yes.
That's not allowed by law. Then tomorrow on the 15th, we are going to have the by-elections for councillors representing persons, special interest groups. That is the youth, workers, persons with disabilities, and older persons.
In
and,
these particular
in those
councils.
areas, in those various areas, they're
Yes.
scattered all over, and I know that we nominated, and you know that we've been campaigning. So electoral colleges, you know, this is by electoral college. Not all of us participate. Electoral colleges, please turn up at the venues that have been declared, gazetted for that purpose. Then, of course, on the 16th, we have elections for district chairperson Kayunga.
Yes.
And we have all those 338 polling stations. We prepared for them, officers, polling officials, and materials. But we also have elections of councillors to the districts and the cities and municipalities and city divisions, sub-counties, town councils, and municipal divisions. Where you have those vacancies, we've organized for you. And also elections of chairpersons for sub-counties, where we have those vacancies. So those are the 2 days for elections. By law, we're supposed to declare the results of elections within 48 hours after closing of polls. And we have put up a structure that will enable us to do that within that prescribed time. And then that will be it.
Okay.
We will have leaders and all councils across the country will have been fully composed.
Okay.
Yes.
What would be your message to the candidates and the voters in a special way as we go towards this exercise?
I think we've largely...
To the most heated beat of the exercise.
We've largely had a peaceful campaign.
Okay.
We would love to close it like that. And the only people who can help us to achieve that are the candidates, because they command a lot of respect from their supporters. If we send out that message that please put on a mask, you're coming out, even if it is the 200 people, we are putting on mask even when you're going to church, which is a very controlled environment. So put on your mask as you prepare to come out for the last campaigns, and put on your mask as you come for the polling day. And also conduct yourself peacefully, because if you don't, if you conduct yourself violently, you are risking the election itself. It may be called off. True. And if it's called off, then what was the purpose? Or it may be challenged in courts of law, and someone may challenge it successfully. True. And cite violations of electoral guidelines. So I think send out that message, mobilize the population, the electorate, the voters to participate peacefully and safely, because there's tomorrow. We want to close the year on a good note, and we want to close the year when we are not in running battles with police and all that.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, on your part as Electoral Commission, it is your foot soldiers that end up making mistakes that throw you in positions to take blame.
Sometimes our election officials have conducted themselves in a way unbecoming. We've done the training, we've done the deployment, and we're going to do supervision to ensure that we don't see, you know, first of all, there are some common mistakes that happen as mistakes, but also we don't want to see our officers being compromised in a way that, you know, compromises the electoral process. So be on the lookout as voters. Let us know. We have complaints desks. We also have toll-free lines, and I think maybe you could read that one out.
Very fine.
So that when there is an issue, you bring it to our attention and we raise it up. And I know these toll-free lines will also be communicated in our other, they've been communicated even in the affected areas. We have 0800, okay. That is 0800, yeah, 300, 121. Okay. You can also do 123, because it's the same 0800, 300, 123, 124, and 125. So it is 0800, 300, 123. You can repeat the same number and change the last ones to 123, 121, 124, and 125. Okay. But we have parish supervisors who are in the community. We have sub-county supervisors who are in the community. And we have our mobile teams that will be supervising, especially in the case of Kayunga, where I've talked about that. So we're going to be on the ground. We have a team that's going to supervise, and we will be responding to issues and helping to sort out on polling day.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Welcome.
We look forward to talking to you after the exercise.
I know we are now heading down to Kayunga, or even during the exercise, I know.
We already have a team in Kayunga, by the way.
Sure.
And we'll take an assessment of how the exercise will have gone.
We look forward to that.
Definitely.
Yes.
His name is Paul Bukenya. He is the spokesperson of the Uganda Electoral Commission, and we have been looking at the by-election exercise that is going to be held in over 300 kind of polling areas in the country, over 100 districts. The positions that have to be filled are over 300. So they are holding that exercise, and we shall take time to get to assess the situation. We have reporters all over the country in places where elections are going to be held, and definitely we'll give you the information of how whatever will have gone. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.
The Electoral Commission appointed the 2nd to the 14th of December 2021 as the period for conducting candidates' campaign meetings for local government council by-elections. The Commission urges all candidates, their agents, supporters and the public to adhere to set rules and regulations during the campaign period, and particularly observe the following. Candidates shall not use or publish any language or defamatory words which incite public disorder, hatred, violence or threaten war. Campaigns shall be conducted between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. and in accordance with the harmonized candidates campaign program. Strict SOPs put in place by the Ministry of Health and by the Electoral Commission to prevent the spread of COVID-19 will have to be adhered to. Candidates will, however, be allowed to organize or hold campaign meetings in a regulated manner, preferably outdoors, with limited attendance of a maximum of 200 persons, with face masks, enough spacing, hand washing facilities and sanitizers. Candidates are advised to identify suitable venues within their constituencies and notify the respective returning officers, who will conduct an inspection together with the police and the district COVID-19 task force to ensure the venue will enable observance of the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health. Candidates and their agents are advised to use non-contact means of communication to interact with the electorate, such as flyers, leaflets, brochures, posters, billboards and banners, radio and television announcements and talk shows, short messaging services, SMS, voice messaging, social media platforms and websites. Candidates who use posters are warned against putting them on road traffic signs. Similarly, candidates who use banners are also strongly warned against hanging them, the campaign banners, on electricity power lines or in a manner that endangers vehicle traffic and pedestrian movement. Candidates may also use the community-based public address systems Bizindalo between 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. as per the campaign program harmonized with the respective returning officers. All candidates are advised to desist from holding mass rallies and conducting processions from one meeting to another. Similarly, convoys and crowds of supporters shall not be allowed outside the designated meeting venues. Polling and tallying of results for elections of councillors for special interest groups shall take place on Wednesday, the 15th of December 2021. Then polling for district chairperson Kayunga and chairpersons and councillors for other local government councils shall take place on Thursday, the 16th of December 2021 at all polling stations in the affected electoral areas.